Everyone, we will solve this today's LeetCode problem. This is LeetCode medium. Count triplets that can form two arrays of equals or. So here we have given an array of integers array, and we want to select three indices I, j, and k, where I, j, and k is between 0 to array of length. So we need to find the count of triplets such that array I to array j minus 1 XOR value should be equal to array of j to array of k values, right? So what does it mean? It means here that if see an examples 2, 3, 1, 6, and 7. So if I try to take a XOR from 2 and then try to take a XOR from 3 or 1, so this 2 value a is equals to 2, this a is equals to 2, and this b is equals to 3 XOR 1 is same, right? This is same. So we form a triplet which is 0 and 1, and this is 2. So this 0 and this 1, so we need to take a XOR from array I to array j minus 1. It means from 0 to 0 it XOR is 2, and from 1 to 2 its XOR is 2. So a is equals to b here. So we need to find, that's how we need to find the count of triplets having forming two equal XORs, right? Forming two equal XORs, right? This is the question we need to find. Okay, so if we see constraints here, it is given 300, that is 10 square, that is 100 of course. So we can do it in O of n cube, because that will leads to 10 to the power 6 something, right? So for that, if we start taking I, j, and k pointers, so what we can do is we can simply start from two pointers like this: 2, 3, 1, 6, and 7, right? So what we'll do, we can start from this 0th index, and from where we can go. So from this 2 can go to this 3, or this 2 can go to this 2, and from this 3 to any of the XOR values. And if any of the XOR values equals to this 2, we will get a triplets. Or again I can start from this 3, and if I get any XOR values from this 1671, so it will be equal. So or I can do it that 2 or 3 will be taken, and if any of the XOR values from 167 is equals to 2, 3, that would be again an answer. So if you see here, we need definitely an I, also a j, and also a k, right? So if you see, j and k can be equal in this case, right? So what we need to do, we need to define we need to define three pointers which will move one by one, and whenever we get two XOR values equals, we will increment our counter, because that will generate a triplets value, right? So if you start, what we'll do, we will take two variables, like ya or ya, two variables x and 0, right? Is x and y. And what we do, we will start start from I till where, till j minus 1, till j minus 1. So what is j here initially? So j can be initialized to I minus 1. J can be initialized to I, because whenever I will stop, this j should be started from there, right? So if I start incrementing from I is equals to 0 to n minus 1. Why? Because we need to find three triplets, and j and k can be equals. So it means I can only goes from 0 to n minus 1, because at least one element should be left, and j should be started from I plus 1 till I j plus plus till last value, right? And whenever from where k can we go, k can start from j, jth value, right? K can start from jth value, because j and k can be equals, right? So we have defined three R loops. Okay, now we need to find these two XOR values, and whenever these two XOR values will be equal, we get an answer, right? So when this two XOR will be equal, and from where we start. Let's see. So if we start from I is equals to 0, it means this will this will the pointer of that from where it need to start, right? This is the pointer dot from where it need to start, and this jth is the middle pointer that z, from this from j to j to I to j, and from j to k, this is the middle pointer, and this is the last pointer. This is starting, this is the middle, and this is the last, right? So what we need to do, this x should be initialized to 0 whenever we start from I, right? So whenever we start from I, this should be 0, right? And this x XOR would be the first XOR, so that would started from I to j. So from I to j, what I need to do, I need to take array of j minus 1, right? I need to take a XOR of array of j minus 1. Why? Because this j is started from I plus 1, so this should be started from this 0, this ith part, because this I need to also be included here. So this would be started from array of j minus 1. This will take XOR again and again whenever this j will increment. So this will give a cumulative XORs, right? Okay, and the same thing started from y is equals 0, and from where it can start from array of k, because array of j and array of because k and j can be equal. So this started from j minus 1, which is I. Of course, this is I, array of I, and this is started from array of k, right? And this will generate cumulative XORs for from k is equals to j to k less than n, and whenever this is equal, it will give our answer, right? It will give our answer. So how is this working? So if you see here 231, so when we started from 2, I is equals to 0, j would be 1, and k would can also be 1, right? So when we started I is equals to 0, what x can be? So x can be 2, and what y will be? So y will be started from this k is equals to j to less than n, so this would be 3, right? So is this equal? No, this is not equal. So we will again move to kth pointer. So this 3 is or 1. Now this is equal. This x and y is equal. It means I got one answer. I got a one answer. Right. Again we will check for k is equals to 3, which will give us 2 or 6, which is equals to 4. Right. Again we will move to 4, which will give us 4 or 7, which is which will give us, of course, 3, right? So this all values is not equals to 2, so we will increment only one answer. Now this j becomes 2, and we will start from this 1th part. So this y would be again 0, and j is equals to 2 is we will start, so k also becomes 2. Now we will start from k is equals to 2. Now this y is or is 1 is equals to 1, and this is how we will simply start iterating again and again to form three triplets, right? So this is a brute force approach mainly. So this is how we will get our answer. So let's see, let's try to pass that. So we will need to initialize and add here, and this should be here, right? And at last I need to return answer, so I will just simply return answer. Let's try to run this. Okay, we have not defined an answer here. Yeah, we have passed the sample case. Let's submit it. Yeah, we have passed the. So this is O of n cube, and we can apply O of n cube here because the constraints are very low. So this is O of n cube, but this is very large. But if the constraints are very large, this would not be work, right? So can we initialize is to O of n square? So let's think on this. So what we are doing here, if you see, we are taking cumulative frequency, cumulative XORs to this x and also this y, right? So for that I need to iterate from this k is equals to j to less than n, every time for for this cumulative, taking cumulative XORs of both of them. So can we can we simply remove one loop and uh, initialize this? So what I does that I mean, what why do we not simply store all the com- uh, source value in an array and use that and use that? Can we do that? Yes, can we can do that by, because this for loop, the extra for loop is for only generation for cumulative source value. If we store this source initially at in the prefix source or something, so we can simply directly use it at every index. So that will leads to that will leads to only two for loops. Why? Because if you see here 2 1 3 6 and 7. So if I store XORs, if I stores all the XORs here in my prefix, so this will leads to 2, this will generate 3, sorry, 2 XOR 1 is 1 0 and this is 0 1. So it will store 3, right? It will 3 and this 3 XOR 0 is 0 and this will give 6 and this will give 1, right? 1 1 0 and this is 1 1 1, so which will gives us 1. So this is if I store this in my, if I store this in my prefix, so what does, how does it help? So if you see here, one properties of XOR is, if you take a b c d e and f, if you take a XOR values from abc and store in x, right? And if you take a XOR value from dee and store a value y, this is a XOR value of abcx and this is y is a XOR value of abcde. So when you do a XOR between y XOR x, so it will give us the XOR values of what, d and e. Understood? Why is this working? So this is a XOR properties. If you want to know, you can do you can run a pen and paper. For now, this abc, if you take a XOR with x and when you take this abcde and its XOR value is y, so when we take a XOR value of x or y or y or x, so it will just eliminate this abc and give the XOR value of de, right? So this is the one of the XOR property you will use many times. You just need to know this, that because why this is working, because in this abcde, this abc is already included. So when we, and you know already that if the numbers, if the numbers, if the same number is taken as odd, then it gives 0. It gives 0. What does it mean? It get eliminated. Eliminated. Eliminated, right? So what does it doing? This x is, this y is a XOR b XOR c XOR d XOR c XOR d XOR e, right? And what does it, what does x is? X is a XOR b XOR c. So this a XOR b XOR c is 2 times here, right? And whenever the same number is taken as or, it gives 0. So this a XOR b XOR c is eliminated. What does it left? It left d XOR e. So which is y XOR x gives us d XOR e value, right? This is how this is the proof, right? So we will use this abcdf in my answer. How that will be used, let's see. So if I see here, this is the prefix, this is the XOR, pre-computed XOR, right? This is the pre-computed XOR. Okay, this is a pre-computed XOR. So when I got a 0 here, it means this 0 is representing that before that, before this 2 1 is also 2 1 is give 2 1 generation is from 2 to 3. It is eliminating all the values because this 0 just represent, what does it represent? It represent that between between any of this between these two values which is the same, between any two values which is the same, all the values between those XOR values should become zero. That is why this zero is coming again. So what does it mean? That if something return 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and again 1, this is the XOR prefix XOR. This is the prefix XOR. This is the prefix XOR. So if this is a prefix XOR, it means the value 1 is coming again after this. It means between this 1 and this 1, this 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 will definitely generating 0. This 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 XOR value is definitely 0. That's why this 1 is again comes at here. This is the same as like uh, the the summation part, the two it is same as like that one is generating again. It means between these two values, the XOR value of these numbers is 0 definitely. If 2 3 after this 2 3 is again, so between these two and this two, this 3 4 5 6 1 will definitely be 0. This the That's why this 2 is comes again after this 2, right? This 3 is after comes this 3. It means 4 5 6 1 2 will definitely become 0. It's sure, I'm just taking an example. It can be possible that this is not coming 0, right? I'm just taking example and making sure to you, right? So it's sure that if the same number comes after that, it means between these two values is definitely 0 in the XOR values, right? So that's the property why it is coming, because the same thing, the same thing, this property, due to this properties, right? So we will use that in our prefix array. So we will we will store the prefix array. We will store the prefix XOR in the pre-computation, and whenever, and what we will do, we will start iterating from I is equals to 0 to n, and from j is equals to I plus 1 to n. Now I have my prefix XOR. I have my prefix XOR stored in my array, and so I don't need this k value to get all the pre-computed XOR in for the loop. So because I have already stored in my array, right? So what would be the answer? So if my prefix j is equals to prefix I at any point, what does it mean? It means between these values, all the triplets which would exclude this and this, we got our answer, right? We got our answer. What? I minus j minus 1. I minus, because we need to find only triplets. So the values between this j and this I, the total number of values which is present, that would be the odd answer, because this is according to the same properties. Like if this 2 and this 2 is same, it means between these values, all these triplets would be odd answer. Either you can take 2 to 3, then from uh, 2 to 3, then from 4 to 1, from 4 to 2, right? This will generate again the same thing. Either you can take 2 to 4, and then from 4 to 2. Either you can take 2 to 5, then from 5 to 2. Either you can take from 2 to 6. So this is the prefix, or this would be the array would be different, right? The array would be different. So if you see this 1 1 1 and 1, this one. So if we try to store its XOR values, right? So initially the XOR value would be 0. Now 0 XOR 1 will be 1. 1 XOR 1 is 0. Now again this is 1, this is 0, and this is 1, right? So I have stored this prefix XOR in my answer, right? I will store this prefix XOR in my answer. Uh, this prefix XOR in my answer, right? I have stored this. So now when this I is equals to 0 is equals to j is equals to 0, it means from this, from 0, I is equals to 0, I is equals to 0 is at here, right? This should be n. Why? Because 0 is also included. If I'm getting 0, it means the previously all the numbers should be cumulative XOR is 0, so I have stored 0 at first position, right? So this would be 0 again, answer plus I minus j plus 1. So what does it mean between this number and this number? If both are equal, it means between this two elements, if we take XOR values from 1 to 0 and 0 to 1, that would become equals, right? So if you take I minus j minus 1, what does it become? 2 minus 1, 2 minus 0 is 0, minus 1, which is equals to 1. So we will store only the total number of numbers between both of the indices that would be equal. So suppose here this is the one, and you get here one, right? So what does it mean? This one and between this one, this 0 1 0, all will have generate a triplet, because if you try to take from 1 to 1 or from 1 to this one, you will get the similar number, right? You will get the similar number. Why? Because from 1 to 1, this is I, this is j, and this is k. So I to I is 1, and from j to k is 1. So that will generate an triplet, so that both will be generate a triplet. So this is how we will simply move this. So let's try to implement this. So the property is the same, that if we take a XOR between the bigger value which is already included to the smaller value, we will generate the between these two values. This is the property we will use here, right? So let's try to just implement this. So this is to store answer. Before that, I need to store prefix. So that would be n plus 1, and it would be initialized with 0. Why it would be n plus 1? To store this zeroth value, to store its zeroth value, right? And now I will just start iterating from 0 to n, 1 to n. I will start just 1 to n to store the prefix value from the starting point. So the prefix 0 is 0 here, and I will store prefix in prefix I XOR array of I minus 1, right? Because array I can be 0 to n and minus 1. So I will just store in one forward directions to store this jth value here, right? So this is how we will simply do that, and this should be written here. Let's try to run this. Okay, this should be j minus I plus 1, I minus 1. Something is wrong. Pre I, array I 5 minus 1. If both is equal, then we will initialize it to answer j minus I minus 1. So what is this pre is storing? Uh, for int I 0 to n, and this will generate pre I, and this would be equals to this. So let's try to debug this, and let's try to run this. So this is coming 0 2 3 1 6 7. uh, I think that would be not correct, because this is coming wrong. Okay, this should be okay. I have not I'm not taking this pre I help, right? So this should be pre I minus 1 also, to take XOR with this, and this should be equal like this, right? I think this should be correct. Let's try to run. Yeah, we correct. Like this. Let's submit it. Yeah, we have passed it. So here we have done in O of n square, but the space complexity we have taken is O of n to store the prefix or, right? So can we do it in, can we again optimize it from O of n square to O of n, of course, right? O of n. So if you see here, what we are doing, we are storing this prefix. Okay, we are, if you see here, this 1011 example, 1011 example, this one and one, right? In this, if you see, what we are saying, that if the same number is occurring any other times between these values, we got an answer, right? We got an answer between these values, right? If we the same number is occurring, so instead of using double loop, can we store the indices between of this the same number using hash? If we use hash, if we use hash map, so instead of using second for loop, what I will do, instead of using a second for loop and the prefix array, instead of using uh, another loop and prefix array, prefix dot, prefix dot, what we will do, we will take on is only the help of a variable and start taking Zod sequentially, right? The first, so this x is 0, so what we will do, we will just initialize with this 0 in my hash map with -1. Why I'm doing this -1, you will know, just be with me. So this is 0 and this is the 1, so zeros or 1 will give us 1, right? So is this 1 in my array, in my hash map? No, right? So we will insert this one in my hash map with indices 0, right? This will indices 0. So why I have been sliced by -1? Because the indices started from 0 only, so we will have just inserted this 0 with -1. Why? Because, right, because this 0 will be mostly occurred in the, if this is an array, so between the indices where we got 0 and between this 0, we will get all the triplets as an answer, right? Because before that, before zoring, before coming the answer 0, there will definitely be all the possible answer from the starting to that point. That's why I have implemented this 0 to -1, right? Okay, so this 1 got 0, and after this 1, when we take a zor value with this, so this 1 and this 1 will gives us 0, right? And if you see here, we have already got 0, right? So it means between this 0 and this 0, we will definitely got a triplet. And what it will be, it will be this minus this minus this minus 1. Why? This is 0, this is 1, so 1 minus 1, which is 2, and minus 1, which is 1. So this one between this value and this -1 index, we only got a one triplet. So that's why we need to generalize these things, so that would answer would be only 1, because this 0 is already present in my hash map and the index is -1, right? Okay, now we will again iterate to this 0, and zeros or 1 is 1. If you see, 1 is already present in my hash map, which is at 0th index, right? Which is at, okay, and this 0 should also be included in my answer. This 0th index would should also be included in my answer, because if another time 0 will come, it will generate with this answer also and with this index also. We will see this. So this one is already present in my hash map, so it will between this one and between this one, it will generate all the triplets, right? So what it does, it will be answer is answer will be 1 again, right? And we will store this indices in my answer. Now when it comes to 3, this will 1 zod 1 will would give us 0, right? Would give us 0. So this 0 is already in my hash map, which is present at -1 and 1. So between this 0 and between this 0 and this 0 at -1, all the triplets between all the numbers which is at between this will generate an answer, and that would be 3. Okay. Again, between this 0 and this 0, all the numbers between this will generate an answer, that would be 1, right? That would be 1. So we will insert this 3 in my hash map also, right? Now when this goes to 4, this will be at 1, and this is at 1. Sorry, this is at 0. So 0's or 1 is 1. So it will raise to 1. 1 is already present where? At 0th index and 2th index. So between this 4 and 0th index, this all is the answer, because this all will help to form a triplet. So this 3 is again an answer, and from 2 means here this one, and between this one all the triplets would have answered, that is 1, right? So what is the total answer? 3 plus 1 is 4, 3 plus 1 is 4, and plus 2 is 10. So that would be gives us 10 answer, right? And if you see here, we are correct. So what we are doing, we are using hash map, and on what does we are storing in map? We are storing the the value, the key value, and an array of indices which when occurs this value, right? When occurs this value, and whenever we are getting we are getting the same key value, the same key the same key the same key, what we are doing, we are going in all the we are taking all the indices of that value, we are taking all the indices of that key which was previously occurred, which was previously occurred and storing all the numbers all the numbers both of the indices between both of the indices, because that would be our answer, because that would form a triplet value. Why is this working? Due to this same condition, this due to this same condition. If ABC and DEF, the ABCDE is Y and ABC is X, so when we do Y's or X, it will gives us DE, right? It means when the same value occurs at any position between both of the values which is already occurred, it means between both of the values, that would definitely be a zero values, that would give us definitely a zero value. If ABC and occurs at A, it means between this value and this value, it would definitely a zero. That's why this value is same occurs between this, right? This is the this is something like the summation, right? If you take A, B, C minus C or something, and it occurs at A, it means between this is forming zero, right? If you take summation starting from this to this and the same number occurs twice, it means between both of this number it is forming zero, that's why it becomes same number, right? This is something like that, right? So this is how we will do that. Let's try to implement this uh, using a hash map. So let's try to implement this, right? Okay, so we are taking an unordered map, and what we are storing, the first thing we will store, the first thing we will store is, okay, this should be vector because I need to store all the indices in this. So, and what we will store -1 first thing, right? Now I will start iterating in this array, and a variable should be here, which will take a cumulative XOR. So that would be array of I. Now, first thing what we check, we will check whether this exists in my map or not. And if it is existing, it means we have we have definitely some indices in this map. So what we will do, we will store, we will take all the values between both of them. So how we will take, so here you have seen that if this one, between this one and this one, this both is excluded, and all this should be clear. So 2 minus 0 is 2, and should be minus 1, which is equals to 1, so that would be 0. So what we will store, we will store I minus it minus 1, right? This I minus it would neglect this it, and this I minus 1 will neglect this I. So that will generate only the between all of the numbers. And after that, we will also include this x value and store its indices in my answer for further implications and return answer, right? So this is how we will solve this. Let's try to run this. We have passed the sample case. Let's submit it. Yeah, we have successfully passed it. So what will the time and the space complexity? So the time complexity would be O of n again, because we are storing only one time. So that it it can leads to some extra complexity, but it will not lead to another O of n, as we have seen in the previous approach, that we need to traverse from again I plus 1 to n, right? That would not be happen in this map. So that would be O of n, and the space would be again, it would be O of n, right? So this is how we will solve this problem. I hope you will understand. So here only three properties which we have used. The first property is uh, where the first property. Okay, the first property is, if you take a XOR with zero, any number, it generates same numbers, right? It generates same numbers. The second property is, if you take a XOR with the same elements, it will give zero. The third property is, if the third property is, if the same number, if the same number is occurring again, it means that between those two numbers, between those two indices, all the XOR, the XOR between two indices, XOR, all the numbers, all the numbers XOR value is definitely be zero, right? Fourth property is that if this ABC, this property, this property, this property, if the ABC is, if we form ABC here, and if we take ABCDE, so if this is both is a XOR value, it means we definitely got D XOR E, right? This is the same property. Hope you understand it, and if not you can comment it. I will try to explain more further, right? Thank you so much. Bye bye. Bye bye.